Hey, one more quick video I want to share with you guys. I'm always talking about how people should shoot in RAW, but also shoot in JPEG. You shouldn't just rule out one or the other just because someone tells you not to do something or to do something. I was thinking about what videos I could make for you guys and how to change from RAW to JPEG and things like that in your camera, which I will do. However, I was in the middle of trying things out on my camera. I couldn't shoot in RAW. And it was a very weird situation. How come I can't change my settings to RAW? What the hell happened with my camera? Do I need a new firmware update? Is there a bug in the system? I literally couldn't shoot in RAW, and I was thinking maybe I've been shooting in JPEG for so long, my camera doesn't do RAW anymore, which is a stupid thought, but that's just what goes through my head, okay? So here's what happened. In my previous video, I talked about make sure you know where your settings are before you start shooting. If there's something wrong with your camera that you think something could be wrong, definitely check the way your camera is set up first, because there could be things set up the way you're doing it that's preventing you from taking pictures, from preventing you from using other features your camera can give you, but it's not allowing you to do that because of your settings. So always make sure that your settings are first. I see a lot of people on forums kind of blame the camera. Oh, the camera doesn't do this, it's not working properly. And the first answer is always, did you check your settings first? Because the way this is set may affect how your other parts of your camera is working. So let me give you a great example of this, okay? Let's see here. Let me see if I can show you guys. So over here is a drive knob. Let me get in close here. And I can move this by doing this. It's the lower level of the knob here. Okay. Now that I've shown you that that can move, of course you know that. Usually you're going to have it set to, I'm sorry, this is like backwards, to the S. S means single shooting mode. Okay. This is where you're probably going to have it most. I'm going to go to menu and I'm going to go to image quality. Okay, so notice how it says fine, normal, fine and raw, normal and raw and raw. Okay, fine is referring to a very fine resolution of a JPEG, and normal is a normal resolution of a JPEG. Fine plus raw equals, it's not a math problem, but fine is the very fine resolution of a JPEG plus a raw file. We talked about RAW in a previous video, but I will refresh your memory. RAW is a very unprocessed file that your camera is capable of taking. So when you take a shot, it takes a picture, one that is processed and one that is unprocessed and fine. This one is normal plus RAW, same thing. And one is just RAW. If you're going to edit everything later anyway, there is a reason to shoot in RAW, of course. Now, you'll notice that all these options are available. Duh, right? You want to be able to shoot in fine, raw, normal plus raw. You can do all these things. Now I want to show you guys this. Look at the choices that are available now. Fine and normal. And nothing else is available. I'm trying to scroll through them, but I can't even do that. And the reason why is not because my camera is broken, but because of this. The drive is now set to bracket. Bracket is a certain function that allows your camera to take pictures in brackets, certain intervals, I guess you can say. It's not just one picture. It takes pictures in 3 different ways, and you can combine them later, or you can choose one of the 3, whatever you want. What this camera is saying right now is that the functions of RAW and any variation of shooting in RAW is not available at this time. And a lot of people think the camera is broken when it's not. Your setting right now is set to bracket. And when you're set to bracket and other functions like this, shooting in RAW is simply not available. Now watch this. I'm going to set the bracket away to single. I believe it's now at, yeah. You see that the functions of RAW have now appeared, and you can choose them. Why am I sharing with you guys a thing like this? Is because I've used this camera for a long time, and even this caught me by surprise. Of course, I don't want to be shooting bracket when I'm shooting in RAW. duh, I don't need to be doing that. But that's just something I didn't realize when I started taking pictures. I need to be more aware of where my settings are before I start taking shots. Before I start getting worked up that my camera isn't working, I need to make sure my settings are correct, that they're where they want to be. You know, that I'm in single shooting mode, that I'm not in manual focusing mode, that I'm over at the S here, or I'm doing continuous, I should be C over here, or manual focus. You know, things like that. There's a lot of different buttons exposed in this camera. That's why we bought this thing. We want to be able to use our hands and fiddle around. The negative side is that things like the ISO has a lock here, which is, I think, a new feature, which is you cannot move it unless you push down that lock. That's really cool, but you can't expect everything to have a lock on the top of this camera. It would cost too much money and it would be too cumbersome to unlock everything. Even the shutter speed over here has a lock on it. So they did take that into consideration, that giving you the precautionary lock so that things aren't bumped out, so you don't ruin a very expensive photo session. But things like the bracket, you just have to watch out for things like the exposure knob does not have a lock button on there, and that is known to be bumped around in transit or before you take a shot. Things can rub against your clothes and it can move knobs that you don't necessarily want moved. So, and that will affect other functions in your camera. Okay, so long story short, this is part 2 of know where the hell your buttons are set to, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and there goes my lens cap. I'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.